What's going on, YouTube? Claic Yuzolt back again with another Final Fantasy Brave Exvius video, and today we're talking about Dark Visions. What exactly is this event? How can you prepare? And how do I get the highest score? Like, what does that mean, Claic? Like, what do I do in this fight? There's all kinds of stuff going on. Let's get into it. So, Dark Visions is the newest and pretty exciting event to come to FFBE. It's going to be a reoccurring event where you're going to go in and you're going to be scored on a certain amount of parameters, which we're going to talk about. You're going to fight different bosses, and then you're going to be ranked. And you're going to be ranked against other players, kind of like the raid and things like that, depending on how high of a score you can get. And you're going to get a lot of nice rewards to go along with that. Dark Visions' main thing that goes with it is you cannot use a friend. You must use 6 of your own units, and you got to build up your own parties and kind of go in there and use every unit that you have at your disposal to really take advantage of enemy weaknesses so you can score these high points. There will be rewards, like I said, from individual rewards to, ranking rewards. So you can see we have a bunch of individual rewards that we can get, some tickets in there, and then ranking rewards, depending on how high you can get up in the rankings. You'll also get some nice stuff. And one of the things you may see is this dark matter. Now, this dark matter is a new material that is going to be used in obtaining weapons and maximizing those weapons in Dark Vision. So I'm going to go ahead and take you guys there and show you that. So we are going to be able to, by farming this dark matter and getting higher scores and getting in the ranking rewards after event, and we're going to head over to the Mog Minister, and we're going to be able to pick up 2 weapons right now, the Dark Gabantine and then the Dark Ragnarok. And these weapons will become STMR or higher tier as you get them. So right now, attack 30, you're like, why would I buy that? Well, you can slowly max it out, so you can slowly increase it. With the more of this material that you can get all the way up to a Dark Ragnarok plus 10 star, and that thing has a ton of attack and an STMR tier level kind of stuff. So this is very, very cool, in which case that you can just slowly grind up after event and kind of get where you want to be when it comes to, these weapons, and kind of slowly obtain these awesome weapons. And if you wanted to know how to increase them and use those recipes and make them stronger, you want to head over to craft, and then it's going to be in enhance equipment, and this is where you're going to do it once you get a hold of them. Okay, so that's just to be aware of that. Now, Dark Visions can be kind of daunting for sure. It's a thing and a half. One of the things they didn't give us was saving and loading in parties yet. So when you go into here, you can see all these different parties you have. There's a ton of them. You may be really confused. You sadly can't load and save parties yet. They have it in JP finally after Quality of Life. It should have come to Global. I don't like that. But okay, what do these parties mean? Well, you can see at the top there, we have 2 parties, one for dark, 2 for each element, and this one's for dark, right? So it boosts dark damage by 20%. So if you're deciding I'm going to go into this fight and I'm going to do dark damage, you want to have your team built on this dark platform. You want to use this I'm going to call them platforms team when you go battle. Same would go for light. If you wanted to use light damage, or I guess I went to water. This thing up here confuses the crap out of me. You got to click left and right here, I guess. You would want to switch to the water one. So that's going to be dependent on what kind of elemental damage you want to do. If you are wanting to use physical or magical, that's why they give you 2. So maybe you want to have your physical here on this one like I do, and then you move over here, you can build your magic one, and that way it's kind of saved for you to go to if need be. And again, you're going to be using 6 different people on your team. So it's going to be dependent on you to have like a tank, a healer, an imbuer, maybe an imperiler, because you want to do as much damage as possible. So when you get in here, Mastermind Zahn is going to be one of the best units in Dark Visions. The reason being is anything that gets put on him, including killers, imbues, etc., he can take that and just put it out to the rest of the team. So he is going to be a mainstay. If you have Mastermind Zahn, you should be happy because he has some incredible abilities for you guys to use. If we go over here to special, his ability Projected Mirror pretty much takes all of that stuff that he has on him and splashes it on the rest of the team. So if you imbue him, if you have to imbue yourself, if you imbue yourself with killer abilities like Regina or, CG Noctis do, you can take those killer abilities and put it on everybody else to be able to do the most damage that you can. So Mastermind Zahn's going to be great. There are other, people out there that do great imbuing or imperiling that you may have on your team. Like, for example, let me try to move over to my dark team. You can see that I have Dr. Aiden here. Dr. Aiden on this team just imbues everybody. He has a 100%, I think, dark in peril, and then he imbues everybody's physical attacks with dark. So you're really going to have to go through your team. Down in the description below, I'm going to link an incredible Reddit post. So good job at the Reddit community for putting this together. It has a ton of information, like what units have imbues and imperils, what units have killer abilities, what are good chainers, etc., for you guys to use to build your teams here. It does take a while because you have to individually build each unit over again. So what are we being scored on in the ranking system? How does that work? You will be scored. Let me see if they have a score thing here. It's right here, but you can't really see it too well. You will be scored on quests being cleared, most damage in 1 turn. So 1 turn, as much damage as you can do. Damage received, so if you take damage. Number of people KO'd. Turns it took you to clear the fight. And then your biggest chain. So you want to build a team around beating the bosses as fast as possible, doing as much damage as in 1 turn as you can, and then you don't want to take any kind of damage. Like, that's bad for you, right? So that's why if we look at my team that I have built up right now, and this is physical, and I'll go over the other teams. This right here is my... Oh my gosh. Anyway, this is my physical team right here. So I have Masterminds on here because he's actually pretty good at chaining as well and covers a lot of different chains. And then I have Edward Elric as my main physical chaining damage dealer. So you are going to have to go through your different teams and your different units to pick and match your team to how you want it to go. The sole winner of these fights and the sole main big daddy damage dealer is going to be Sid, believe it or not. Enhance him, equip him up. He's going to do that thing where he puts the evade on everybody, and it makes his jump be able to come down the next turn. He's going to jump in the air, and he's going to hop down while Ed and Mastermind's on are chaining, and it's going to do massive damage. So it's really going to depend on you and how you want to build your team, but a finisher is excellent here in Dark Visions, whereas before they weren't, you know, the best in the world. And that's for physical. Now, if we look over, I think it's going to take me straight to my magic team. I do not have very good magic damage dealers. I have been skipping a lot of their banners. I just don't have them. And then when we talk about magic damage dealers, you know, they are really locked to certain elements. However, hybrid damage dealers can still do damage to these fights. And we'll talk about why you need the different ones here in a second. But essentially, if the fight calls for magic damage, hybrid damage dealers are still a great viable option. One, they can be imbued. So you don't have to worry about, oh, my Operative Zyrus can't do X element, or I can't find him a chaining partner that does the same chaining frames. You know what I mean? Like, it starts being really hard. I mean, it ends up being more damage, but a hybrid damage dealer can be built all magic. So when you're using them for the magic here in Dark Vision, build them all magic up and then imbue them outside and then let them go to town. And that's what I'm doing right here. So I'm using Elena and Levinson. You guys have Aurora Fravia, Yagi, Rab. There's a ton of different options for you guys out there to use to kind of try to fit them and chain them up together so you guys can be doing Dark Vision damage. So why do you want different... So let's go to area 1 here. Why do you want different types of damage? Because when you click on somebody, which I'll go over this more in detail when we actually do the fight, you can see that they have a weakness, right? So they're going to have an elemental weakness, and they're going to have a damage type weakness. It's not that they are immune to the other damage type. It's just that, like, so this boss's defense is, like, I'm just going to throw out numbers, they're not real, 10, but his spirit is like 500. And then, so as you move up to the harder fights, if it says, hey, I'm low on spirit, so again, it would be like my spirit is 200, but my defense is 3,000. So it'll be really hard for you to kill in a fast amount of time, and it gets really, really tough. I mean, it's exponentially grows to where they really push you to use the damage type that the unit is going to use. And this is why you want the different kind of parties to have boosted damage, because this guy's weak to dark, so I want to have my dark damage dealing team, and I want them to be magic, because they, you know, low spirit here, as you can see. The next thing I want to talk about, and I know it's a lot to cover, so I hope I'm doing a good job, I'm doing the best I can, is that they will open these areas up in sections, and it'll be a day. So like today we have area 1, tomorrow we'll have area 2, and then area 3 will be unlocked the next day, from what I understand. So you guys have time to kind of like work on them each day. You can see that this will be open for a week, so you guys can go in there and battle it out. You don't need to rerun over and over each of these boss fights unless you're looking to increase your rank. It's not like you keep doing this and you acquire points and that would be similar to like a raid thing. No, this is how high you can get your score overall. And I know a lot of people are worried. They're like, hey man, there's no way I can compete with these wells. I'm never going to get these items. You actually can. Eventually, like look at this. Like if you get down to 2,000, even if we go down to like the lower ones, you still get like 200, 150. You still get some great items, and you will eventually, through grinding and playing these events, because they're reoccurring event now, we'll be able to make those awesome weapons and have a lot of fun in here. It's overwhelming at first. It overwhelmed me. It takes you some time to be able to build your teams up. I highly recommend using FFBE equip. You can kind of put what they're weak against and what elements you want on there, and then from there you can you know, say like, I need to have the dark element, I need it to be physical damage, and I'm going against an undead creature, and it will build your team up. You can keep going and it builds your entire team to do what it needs to do. So please check out ffbeequip.com. It's one of the best things that have ever been made for FFBE, and it's very important. I'll also have that linked down in the description below. Be sure to check out all those Reddit posts that'll give you guys all kinds of ideas for imperiling, imbues, killers, all kinds of great stuff like that. Great information there. But without further ado, let's get into the fight and show you guys how I did. Before we get into the rest of the fights, I recorded all these fights out of order because I had to change my my equipment. So that's my highest score right now. It's 994. Obviously people are going to overtake it eventually, but if you start seeing my energy and then my ranking change as we go, it's because I did them all, and then I slowly started recording them out of order, and then even recorded the intro we just did after everything to make sure I understood everything. So hopefully that doesn't confuse you guys. Let's get into the fights. So we're moving into the first fight here, and I wanted to kind of show you how you know what you need to be doing. If you look in the bottom left, it does give you a nice little boss info section. You can see that he is weak to fire and his defense is down, meaning that you guys are going to want to use attack units, physical units, instead of the magic units that you were going to use for maybe other fights. So looking at him, we need to have fire, so we want to have our fire team on, so we have the fire 20% boost. We want to make sure either our units will be imbued with fire element, or they're going to have fire elemental weapons on. My way of doing this is going to be Lucas is going to fire imbue himself and Mastermind Zon, and then Mastermind Zon is going to spread it all over the team, and then we're going to be able to do our fire chaining. This boss right here is going to be Reaper, so Undead Killer is where you want to be at. And before we get into this fight, oh, and also when you see their element, that means they're gonna do most of the time the opposite of that element. So like, instead of doing, they're weak to fire, so they're gonna be doing like ice damage. In most cases, that's how it's gonna be. So you want to make sure that you have ice resist on your team. We can go to stats here. My guy, I built him up to be resist 100% to everything. And I'm just gonna go over my equipment really quick. If you'd like, you can pause it as you move through to see like my killers or how I have it set up. You do want a 100% provoke evade tank in most cases to make sure you don't take any of that damage, because it does affect how much you know, points you get. So I'm just going through here again. I'll do this for every fight just so you can see how I change my equipment really quick. It'll be quicker in the other fights, so I'm kind of like trying to do it slow this time. And there you go. So we're going to get in here and see how much damage we can do and what kind of score we can get. Again, the point of this, get the highest chain you can, beat it in the least amount of turns. Get the highest highest damage you can in one turn, and then we want to make sure none of our dudes die or in the least amount of damage that they can take. So first up, Lucas is going to cover, so we're going to go a little bit of cover action here. Kryla is going to excuse me, not imperil, yes, but imperil every element and also break, so that's going to be great. Sid is going to go ahead and get his the beginning of his abilities to where he can jump in the sky, so this is going to buff it up so he can jump back down immediately. Sylvia is going to be our 200% buffer to all of our stats, so we're going to go ahead and pop that off. Ed is going to take this time. He's not even going to double cast. Because we don't want to do damage right now because we'd kill it. So we want to wait until we can do the maximum number of the maximum amount of damage we can do in a turn. That's going to be turn 3 when Sid can come down. So no comparison between us can be cast here, or you can defend, and Mastermind Zon, excuse me, is defending. Now, you notice that I am using the Subservient, and I just took damage from that. That does not count against you in the score tallying. So finally, we can start using the Subservient and not be too upset about it. So next up, Lucas is going to use, and I know you guys, it depends on whatever fire imbue or fire elemental you have. We're going to imbue Mastermind Sid, and then we're going to use a barrier here to put on everybody. And barriers are going to help you with taking the least amount of damage. Mastermind Zon is then going to use Projected Mirror. This is the ability where he takes whatever's on him, killers, all that stuff. You can read it, and throws it on everybody like we talked about before. We're going to go ahead and put all of the, everybody's going to be imbued with fire now. Sid's going to take the time to jump into the air with his big damage dealing ability. Kryla doesn't need to do anything, so she's going to defend. And Sylvie can triple cast, so we're going to get out a elemental resist, you know, just in case. I'm just getting used to doing that. I should have done this before Sid jumped up, but, you know, there it is. And then Ed just needs to defend because we're not ready to do damage just yet. So Ice Sphere is happening. So again, like I said, fire damage going into ice. So he's weak to fire, doing ice damage himself. We're resisting it. We're dodging, all that good stuff. And now it's time to see how much damage we can actually whip out. So we're going to go Hammer of God here with Ed, double Auto Melt Blade. Mastermind Zon is going to use the ability that can chain with Ed. And Mastermind Zon covers a lot of different chaining families. So that's what's really great about him. He brings all that other stuff, and he can chain with a ton of people physically, and he does pretty good physical damage. So we're going to use Lethal Virus here with the SR chaining, and then we're going to chain it up. That's pretty good. Wait for the chain to start up. Get up there, and then he's going to come down and do the maximum damage with that chain modifier. And let's see how much damage we ended up doing with our squad. And I'll keep saying this in each one of these fights. Need to go through Item World. Need to be Doored and Potted. But I'm just having a lot of fun trying to get this video out as soon as I can to you guys so I can show you how we do. So let's see how we did on our rankings here. See if we can get a new record. Because I have beat these in preparation of doing this video before. But I made some tweaks, so we'll see how we do. We got S1. We got maximum, right? I think 33. I think. Oh, turns cleared as an S. S plus, new record? It's taking a minute. It's taking a minute. I guess not new record. Yes! Okay, I gotta click it, I guess. I was waiting for it to say it. New record. That's awesome. So you can see that we have to do most damage in one turn. I think 30,000 points is the most you can get. 10,000 in damage received is an S plus. Times KO'd, so no times KO'd. 10,000 is the most you can get. Turns cleared. I did take 3 turns to do it, and every turn after turn 1 takes 1,000 points away from that. But this, you get 30,000 for damage in a turn, so you can take a couple of turns off in order to build up your team so you can do as much damage as possible. And then my biggest chain, I only got 6,100. I'm assuming 10,000 is the max there, but I got an S plus on it, so that's good enough. And we got a new record. So now we're gonna move on to the second fight and show you guys how I took that one down. All right, guys. So moving on to the second fight, and you guys will see how not good I am set up for magic right now when it comes to dark visions and FFBE in general. I've skipped over a lot of the magic damage dealers, but we do have a solution. We are using hybrid damage dealing units, and we are going to be imbuing them. So this is a thing you guys can do. Again, most fights you want to use what they're weak to, and sometimes magic damage dealers really hinder you in that way because you can only use what their abilities actually offer when they do damage. However, with hybrid damage dealers, you can build them all magic, right? You go all magic, and you imbue them with the element you need to, and then you can kind of skip over that, and you won't be you won't be doing as much damage as the magic damage dealers are that can fit that, or they don't even care about the element. They just do whatever they can. They imperil a bit because each of these bosses are negative 50% to what they show, and then I think they're 80% to non-elemental and all other categories. So if you imperil, you're still going to be doing damage, but in this case, this is what I'm working with, and this is how it's going to be. So this fight right here is weak to dark, meaning they're going to be doing light damage. There are 2 creatures, and they're weak to magic damage. It's going to be this big old dark dude. I'm not even going to try to say that. And the dark Amazon. They're both humans. So we want magic human killers. So that's what we're going, or man-eater. That's what we're working with here. So I wanted to show you guys my Levinson that I'm using, doing that hybrid damage. Dark Aiden literally is only here to dark imbue, nothing else, and imperil. That's all he's going to be here for. And then we have our Elena here doing the best she can. This is what's really going to hold me back in these fights, but it's all right. So let's get in there and take him down. I'm going to be taking down the little Amazon in the bottom first, and then I'll take down the big guy, and we're going to try to get this done as fast as possible while doing as much damage. But again, with our magic damage dealers, our hybrid damage dealers, I don't know if we're going to be able to compete with some of these other people, but that's all right. So Lucas is going to take the time to cover. Kryla is going to do her normal thing where she, let's see, she's going to break and imperil. She normally does that. Sylvie's going to buff everybody up. Doc Aiden, now this is going to be his time to shine. He's going to be using his, and I've never used him before. We're looking for the ability that just gives everybody dark. Let's see. Boost dark resist and add dark elements of physical attacks for everybody. So that's going to happen now. Levinson and Elena do have dark on. We're going to go ahead and head over to the sleigh here. And this is what I have to... It takes a turn to get ready with these 2 units, but then after that, they're ready to fight. So it's a little bit different. Normally, you'd be casting like an LB to do more damage and move through that. But we're going to skip that for this this turn with these units and just try to get as much damage in as we can. If I can use the right abilities here. I think it's Starlight is the one I want. Yeah, so we're going to go with Way of the Aurora and then Aurora Arts. I'm kind of doing it in a weird way, and I'm not even sure if this is 100% correct. But I've just kind of been messing around. I wanted to get this video out to you guys. So I'll min-max here after all of this. So we can see Sunlight coming in. That's going to be light damage. So we want to have our tank and everybody be light resist. And then we're going to be good to go. So now we're ready to do damage. Targeting the Dark Amazon first. With my dude here, we're going to send the Toy Army in. And that's going to be BS chaining. So we go down to our Elena. And she's also going to go to her BS move, Blade of Crystal. And we're going to go tap, tap. and do as much damage as we can there. I'm pretty sure this guy will live. He did, so next turn we're going to have to do more damage. Aiden's going to defend, Kryla's going to defend, Lucas is going to take the time to go ahead and put a barrier on us just in case we take damage and mitigate some of the other damage, so it's going to be boom, boom. Sylvia doesn't really have to do anything either, so she's going to defend. So there we go, have a barrier just in case we take damage. We're defending everything. He's gone mad, his Blade of Fury is happening. We took a little bit of damage there. He got mad that the Amazon died off, but the barrier should help us with that, and we should be fine. So we're going to move now. We're going to hit reload so we can have our 2 damage dealing abilities with them too. And bada bing, bada boom. See how much damage we do. We're getting our chain up. It's not the highest chain in the world. I did pretty good on there. Spark chain that. 53. I'm hitting my left and right. I'm on an emulator and I'm hitting my left and right buttons on the keyboard there. I have it bound, you know. You could do that on emulator. You can set to where your key bindings do stuff. So let's see how we did. So this is going to be I'm trying to get these damage dealing things up with magic damage dealers, but we'll see how we do. Takes a minute to load up. Here we go. S+. Hey, I think, is that a new record? New record. Nice. So I did go through, like I've been saying, and did them all just to get a general idea before I did the video. And I'm breaking records out here, baby. So you can see that we didn't get anywhere near our physical damage, right? I think we're at 30,000 points for physical damage, but we still got an S+, which is great. Our biggest chain was only an S, and the turns to clear was an S. We took 2,000 there, and we did receive a little bit of damage, so we got a little bit of that taken off with that physical damage that came through, so the barrier didn't save us from that, but, you know, it's there just in case. We don't want to die or, you know, take a ton of damage, so we want to make sure we live through these fights. So let's move on to the next one. All right, so this is the 3rd fight, which is going to be the same as the 5th fight in a way. It's just a Manticore demon type that we're going to be fighting here. Weakness is fire, going to be doing ice damage to you, so make sure your ice resist is up on your team or on your cover tank. And then we need to be doing magic damage, so we're taking in my put together best I could do right now hybrid damage dealing units. And again, the only units who have changed honestly are going to be Levinson and Elena. We're going to look at their equipment here. It's going to be different than the last fight we just did a little bit. We have some Demon Killer on, so make sure you guys have your Demon Killer on so you can be doing as much Demon Killer damage as you can. We're going to be imbuing fire like we did via the Lucas, and then it's going to go to Master Manzan, and Master Manzan is going to splash it all over the party, and that's going to be it. It's going to be over, I think, turn 2. We'll be good to go, and the Manticore will go down. So it's pretty much all you got to know. Make sure you have fire imbue on. You're doing fire damage. You have ice resist. You're going to do great with the Demon Killer. So Lucas is going to cover because the first turn we can't do what we need to do because we got to power up a little bit. Kryla is going to give us our Imperil. Kryla has been amazing for me so far in this. We're going to break and Imperil, and she's my single target provoke 100% evade tank. So we got that. So now we should have the fire Imperil and the brakes on. Yep. So we're good to go there. Zahn is going to defend. Levinson is going to do his thing where I've got to do all his buffy buffs before I start doing damage. Elena's going to do the same. Let's see. Way of the Aurora. Sylvia is going to do her 200% buff like we've talked about. And then we just defend, and we wait till next turn when we rip this Dark Manticore a new one. It's not that bad, dude. So we got Ice Needle. I do believe that is a damage over time ability he just applied to us. And then he just does his normal thing where he just starts doing some stuff and nothing happens to us. So I do believe he does apply a little bit of a damage over time. Let me see. Damage over time, yes. So you can with Lucas. I'm using Lucas. You can try to put a shield up with whoever you have to avoid that. So we're going to go with add fire to Master Manzan, and then we're going to put a little shield barrier up on everybody so they don't take any damage. I guess they won't be taking damage. I'm going to kill them anyway. I guess that's it. But I'm just telling you guys that is a little bit of thing. The barrier can really help you out. We're going to use the ability. We're going to go with the triple cast. No, we can't actually. So we're just going to go with this and apply the buffs to everybody on our squad so they all have fire added to their abilities. Let's make sure that's done here. Adds fire element, which is great. Levinson is going to triple cast. We're going to go with Toy Army, Toy Army, Toy Army. And then Elena is going to do Blade of Crystal because that's the BS chaining she has. And then we chain it up. And Guy is gone immediately. But we do get a little bit of chaining going on there. And we'll see if we end up... Again, I am really hurting on magic units. So these hybrid units are having to get the job done for me. And they do. But it's going to hurt my ranking just a little bit. But it's okay. So let's see how we did on this fight. See, did we get an S+? That's the question. I've done it before, you know, all these times I've tested things, so I don't know if I got a better score this time or not. We got an S on damage, and that's probably what's going to hold us back. Let's see. And the A on that, so we're probably just gonna get an S. Yeah, dude, I just keep getting these S's, man. But that's the fight right there. Pretty simple. You just have to make sure your team is set up. And now we're gonna move on to the next fight. Moving on to the fourth battle now, we're gonna be fighting a plant golem. And as you can see, he is weak to water, and then also defense is down, so physical damage is what we'll take in here. I am on the water damage boost team, so you want to make sure that that's what you're on to have more water up. You want to make sure your physical units can either be imbued by somewhere on your team with water or have water weapons so they can chain and get the most out of that. You also want to bring a water imperil. This boss will be doing mostly lightning damage, so make sure that your lightning resists are up. The boss will have two different enemies. It'll be the plant golem, so for plant killer, and then the stone gargoyle, which is going to be for the stone killer. So that's what you guys want to have. All of my members are the same except for my damage dealers, and they had to change up to be able to fight plant and stone while also being able to do water damage. So you can see here, you guys can pause that to see the where you can see what they have equip on. So if you want to copy it or get some ideas, again, FFBE equip is going to be your best friend with this, because you can just change to have them have water on in the same party and be good against the plant and the golem, or the plant and the stone monsters, which would be great. So we're going to head in. Our magic cover tank is already resist to 100% to lightning resist, so not too bad. And we're just going to do the same strategy we've been doing in general. So we're going to cover here first. Let's go down here, cover. Claic is going to break and imperil this turn, so it's going to be this, and then the imperil is... I always miss the imperil. I think it's because it's above or something. Why do I always miss this? Every time. It's like I can't find it. There it is. Reduce all of it. It's literally right there, and I never can see it. I'm an idiot. Then we're going to have Sid go ahead and cast his... All of our people have water element already on, so we don't have to worry about that too much. Sylvie is going to cast her 200% because of the enhancements. Buff on everyone. And then Ed and Zon are actually going to take this time to kill off the gargoyle. So we're going to go here. Automel Blade. And then we're going to have Mastermind Zon do his SR chaining lethal virus here. And boom, boom. Just tap, tap. And here we go. So we're going to be able to take out the Dark Gargoyle. The actual Stone Golem is going to stay up. We want to not kill him off until we get that nice big damage from Sid after he jumps down. And he's just going to do a lot of lightning damage. And again, if I'm covering with my Lucas here, who has lightning resist all the way up. And then we also have a provoke 100% and 100% evade Kryla. Nothing happens to us. Lucas is going to take this time. I always do this just in case, as I boost all elements with his big ol' OP ability. Kryla is going to defend. Ed and Mastermind Zon are going to defend. We're going to take Sylvie's time here to triple cast. And again, this is just for just in case kind of things, because I already know what happens. But physical damage, magic damage, mitigation, I do need to enhance those. And then we're going to jump in the air. The next turn, we're going to come down and do as much damage as we can. Again, we're not killing him right here. We are taking 1,000 damage down in the turn ratio, and we've talked about this through the other fights, but it's worth it to have that big damage with Sid falling down and doing as much as he can. So if you have a finisher like that, that's the go-to. We're going to triple cast Ed here, Hammer of God, Automel Blade, excuse me, Automel Blade. We're going to go back to the Lethal Virus here, triple cast, and we're going to go... have them come down, wait for them to chain up for a little bit, and then have Sid drop down to make sure he maximizes that chain modifier. And there you go. Darkwood Golem is down. Again, these first few fights are going to be easy for you guys, as we've talked about before. It's just about getting your as high of a score as you can get. They're not that difficult. As we get to the last fight in each of these different stages, they become a little bit more tanky and a little bit more difficult, and you can't just sit around and do nothing. But we got a score of 71,227. We just missed on the turns for clear to get that S+, and we did pretty good, which is awesome. So now we're going to be moving on to the next fight. So moving on to the final fight, it has changed from the JP. They fought Diablos. We're fighting just the same fight we had on the third match in the Manticore. So as long as you kept your same team together, you want to have ice resist, you have your fire boost team on, you're going to be imbuing and imperiling fire, and you're using magic and demon killer, you're going to be good to go. So I'm just going to show it off just to show how it works. I'm assuming a bit tankier of a monster, so you're going to have a harder time scoring that high damage. It may do a little bit more damage to you, but in most cases, people are going to be able to finish it off pretty quickly, so that won't be too big of a problem. So it's going to be, like I said, the same exact thing that we've been doing pretty much for all these fights. Again, these first couple of fights, they're easier. They're not the worst in the world. Things get a little bit different as you unlock the next couple of days fights. They get tougher. They have like they have the ability to, we defend here so we don't do anything with him. They have the ability to preemptively strike you, so you really have to have some elemental resist to make sure you don't take that damage ahead of time so you can keep that score up. So we do all these with our Levinson. It's crazy that I'm using Levinson, but it's really cool. Like, I know it's like I was talking about a makeshift way to make sure that we're, you know, doing our magic damage, because we don't really have magic damage dealers to cover all this stuff. And with hybrid, it makes it a little bit easier, like I said, because you can just imbue and then you can fight whatever element they're weak to. But, you know, it's not doing the most damage because these are kind of older units in a way. If Elena gets enhancements, though, this could be a nice stellar team because Levinson still can produce pretty good damage. So we're going to go to the Fire Imbue here on Mastermind Zon, and then we're also going to put the barrier up to reduce any damage we may end up taking if we don't kill here. We're going to go ahead and apply that Projected Mirror onto everyone here. Levinson's going to break out the toy army. And then we're going to go to Elena. Let's see if we can kill in one shot again. Those killers are great. Let's see. Speed of light. That's it. So again, I didn't show my equipment on Levinson and Elena, but this is the exact same it was on the past fight. All right, did we get it? Woo! We almost didn't kill it in one shot, but we did. So it is much tankier. So I'm assuming it's tankier than the third fight. Does a little bit more damage. But there it is. We ended up clearing it right there. We can see what my final rank is here. For the first couple of matches. Again, I have some item world to do. I have to kind of door and pot some of these units. But this is kind of what I put together. S+! Poggers! Bro, I didn't think I'd get an S+ on any of these hybrid things. That's awesome. Wow. Okay, so where does that put me on my ranking now? Oh, how do I check my ranking? Ranking details. Oh, I'm 1,173. Oh, man, I'm pretty low. That's okay, though. It's not like the very tippity top, but it's pretty good. Let's see how I did on my completion rewards here. Okay. You know, I did okay. I got this dark matter. We're doing all right. We're slowly working through. Ranking rewards. Where am I? I'm in the top 1,000. So I am getting some good rewards. That wasn't too bad. So again, guys, we are going to be seeing some more of the fights come out later on. So these will unlock tomorrow, I do believe, and then Saturday. And I will be putting out videos to show how to fight them and what I used. And you're going to see the same teams. It's just going to show you the strategy for fighting them and, you know, how I did on my ranking. And let me know what your ranking is in the comments below. So if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below what your ranking is. And if you have any questions, I'll try to help out. Subscribe for future content here on my YouTube. Follow me on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Claic Yuzolt. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.